Welcome to Aunty K's, your favorite radical queer indigenous auntie, bringing you tarot every day. Hello everyone, and welcome to Aunty K's Tarot. Today I am doing a VR Tarot 7 Connections. It's a VR to Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, and I was tagged in this by Kelly Bear, and I will try and remember at the end to tag some folks also. So this is Marilyn's first created tag, and it has 7 questions about how we're connected to tarot. And I really enjoy these types of tags where we're getting to know each other and where we're coming from a little bit better. I like those. Also, minor update on a video I put out last week, decks on my table for a pride aesthetic. I've switched out Fortune Queens for being too big and Tarot of the Enchanted Garden for being too difficult to figure out what the images are on the pastel swirl. So I switched them for Fifth Spirit and the Metanoia Marseille. And we'll look at these a little bit while I talk. Any types of reading I won't do. Well, I primarily work on the hotlines, and so they have rules about that. And I have a little section in my profile that I recently added in there called Boundaries, and it says, yes, I do third-party readings. No, legal questions are not allowed on apps, so please don't ask. Yes, I can tell you where someone is coming from, their fears, what they really want, and what they really want to give you an understanding of what drives the other party. No, medical questions are not allowed on the app, so please don't ask. That includes death, pregnancy, and mental health diagnosis or how to recover. I am a psychic, not a psychologist. Yes, I can tell you where another party is coming from and the impact. I can pull guidance on practical things to do in addition to therapy. I can tell you the reality or layout of a situation, and we can talk about how you, others, or the system is impacting thoughts, emotions, and logistics. In my private life, I do private readings for some people. I have no qualms about commenting on what the legal outcome is. I have no issue if the cards tell me something going on in your medical life, what that is. I don't feel comfortable like really getting into medical advice other than like something's impacting your health. You need to check in with a medical professional. You need a second opinion, something like that. I probably draw the hardest line on I'm a psychic, not a psychologist. I can give you advice as an auntie, as a psychic. Practical, real-world advice. I can. I can't help you overcome your traumas. That's not something I can do. All day long, I give advice like, look, the issue in this relationship is trauma. You cannot love them into a better mental health. This issue will only be resolved with therapy. If they won't get it, then that's the reality of this situation. This is who they are. That it won't change. And so that's where I'm coming from on what I can and can't read on the hotlines. Is there a card I identify with? Any pip card, court or major? All right, there is. I have long identified with the Knight of Swords as a Gemini, and the Queen of Swords I feel these wrapped up how I parented when I was younger with a bunch of kids in the house and my activism work. And I feel very much like I am growing into an Aunty phase of my life where I am the Queen of Coins. And so I am seeing this as my signifier more now than the Knight. And the more than the Knight and the Queen. My birth card is the Emperor. And I do not identify with the Emperor other than, you know, this is the person that I want to take down in my life. My birthday card, the pip card that covers my birthday, which I'm looking for here for you all, is the Nine of Swords. So the Nine of Swords is a pip card that represents my birthday, and I get it. I do. I get it in both a Marseille and an RWS way, how the Nine of Swords covers my birthday. And also, I'm probably kind of an anxious person. I'm definitely constantly trying to break through things all on my own, then find out I need help. The Tower is one of my favorite majors. I love the Tower. I want the Tower to occur. I want to be the person responsible for the Tower burning. So that's where I'm at on cards I identify with. Without betraying anyone, is there ever a reading that gave you chills or impressed you? There has been. And the first time was in an astrology reading, and it was for a community member who was doing illegal things to provide her girlfriend with the lifestyle she wanted, and I spoke to them about it, although I was like, I don't know want to know what specifically it is you're doing, but it's an issue, and it's going to come and bite you on the ass eventually. And 2 years later, I was with one of their other siblings when their mom called, desperate, looking for them. No one's been able to find the oldest sister. The oldest sister's car is outside her work at the pharmacy, but there's no sign of her. And I was suggested, did you check the police station? And there was some outrage. Not that child, because that child was a goody two-shoes. The other children, certainly, but no, not her. And, but we checked there, and she was in jail. And since her car was parked outside her work at a pharmacy, I'm sure you can figure out the details from there. I think that was the first time I called something really wild and outside what was expected. And it gave me the confidence to do it other times. Early on in reading for people who were not my friends and community, I did a reading. And the person wanted to know why their girlfriend was distant. It was a lesbian couple again. And was it because she was cheating on her? And I pulled the cards and I swallowed really hard. And was like, she's distant and upset because she knows that you're cheating on her. Man, was I ever nervous to say that? So nervous to say that. And I was correct. And they gave me a review that was like, I am so angry with her. She said the truth about things that I never mentioned. And And perhaps it is the beauty of that particular negative review that helps stand out. But also, it's some things are difficult to say to people. But I think those things, they stood out for me, and they stood out because they told me, like, you got this. Even when it makes no sense to you logically, you follow spirit. My preferred system of tarot, and specifically tarot, and Marilyn names a whole lot of them, and it's Marseille. I started out with RWS, and I still like my RWS decks. I have collected some beautiful RWS decks, but the openness of a Marseille, I really love. It's been harder to find beautiful, diverse Marseille decks. And you all know, if you follow my channel, I hate me an all-white deck. For years, that's all I had. And I hated it. I really hated it. And because I avoided online tarot communities, because I wanted to avoid all the white New Agers, because in Indigenous community, they're the people we dislike the most. So I didn't know there was indie decks and places I could find BIPOC decks till folks in my community were like, get online, do this professionally, read outside community. And so that's part of why I created this deck. And while I was doing it, some other lovely Marseille decks also came out that were diverse. And I wanted a diverse deck that, okay, that one breaks the rules a little bit, but this is like more of a biblical angel. And instead of a cathedral, I put the earth, because for some of us that is a cathedral. But I wanted a Marseille deck that was modern, diverse, pretty, and still read like a Marseille. It had all the aspects, the positionality, etc. And so I did different things to achieve that. The way I broke up the clothing or added in necklaces helped create what was going on with the clothes. So they sit really awkwardly in a Marseille deck, which means they don't always look like they're sitting. So I did things like this. Something didn't work. I put it in like a white outline, like this chair that she's sitting, not sitting in. Or the that infinity symbol that has a special name you all know that I don't know. I just made it interesting over their head. And that, thing I did in white, I did in outlines what didn't fit, like the wings. But and then I had a friend take pictures of her garden, and the one I chose lines up with like how that the ground looks in the temperance card. So that is what I did here. And I chose florals that worked with the idea of it and the way the florals behave on a traditional Marseille, whether they're reaching out or whatever they're doing. So that is, I really enjoy the Marseille. And, show me some Italian decks that are diverse and I will consider them. That's it. Thoth, I'm not interested in. I don't want to get in the mind of Crowley. RWS decks, they do have an ease, but I do also feel pinned down. So there's both ease and difficulty. So I think I like them for their art more than their reading, but I can read with anything. I can read with these. Do I prefer in-person, remote, etc. readings? Oh, yeah. Let's talk about this. So, I work on the hotlines, and I can get asked to do a pre-recorded video where you write down something and a little bit about your question, and maybe you make a video question and I respond with a 3-minute video. I hate that the most because I'm timed in my 3 minutes, although I can say a lot in 3 minutes. Although some things don't work for 3 minutes. It says on my profile, I can do past live readings, but not in 3 minutes. And I can, but I'm not going to get anything interesting out in 3 minutes. They definitely will not do mediumship on 3 minutes. And that's just like, I'm not going to be able to connect. I only do mediumship readings if the person is present when you ask. I love me phone calls. Oh, I like them the best. So if it's a video reading, I have to worry about showing you the cards and you're facing me. It's not a camera down situation. You're supposed to see my face if you're doing a video reading, so you know you're talking actually to me. Plus I'd have to turn everything around and set it up really quickly, and that'd be a pain in the butt. So I have to worry about that, and I find that's somewhat distracting. In a text, we also get text on the hotlines, and I have to keep looking up at the screen and make sure autocorrect isn't doing weird things, and make sure the speech to text is not turning my accent into different words. So I would have told you all day long, there's no way that when I say about, it sounds like a boat, but text to speech disagrees with me. So that's just somewhat distracting. Now, phone call readings are absolutely my favorite. In my youth, there was no better way to spend an evening than talking on the phone to your friend and not getting interrupted for like an hour more. Like, that was glorious. And I still have a few friends who are in my age group, and we do still have telephone talks, and I love it. I love it. And I love it on the hotlines because I can talk to you all day on a telephone. So absolutely, I do like that. I live in the country, so in-person readings would be difficult unless I set up and did markets, and then that might impact like my actual work, trying to figure it out and set it up. Although I think I'd really like a market. I really do. I think I would find it fun. But yeah. So that is, I think I'd find it fun. I do like reading in person for folks. Yes. But I'm going to say my fave is a telephone talking hotline call. Love it all day long. Besides tarot, are there other oracle systems that I use? Yes, there are. So, I love Lenormand. I can pull a Lenormand reading, a grand tableau, and tell you about all your different kids, your job, and, your person of interest, all in one reading. It can be so chatty. I absolutely love it. It's practical. It's down to earth. Sometimes I pull a Lenormand just to see where you are compared to your desire, and then I'll pull some tarot cards. I quite enjoy playing cards, and I made this deck. I'll make it available at some point. I love the interpretation, the way playing cards read. Certainly I also have plain playing cards that are not illustrated, but I made this deck. I like the illustrations. There's a practical aspect to it that I really enjoy. There are cards in here that speak to health and legal issues, and I think that's really helpful for people. And they're kind of done in ways in which would fit what I would want to say if I was unfiltered on the hotlines, and I find ways to say it filtered on the hotlines, working within means of what I do. So the thing about cards for me is that sometimes cards are just a key to the back door. And when I shuffle and deal them out, sometimes the message is just coming out of my head. I can hear it or whatever, and it has nothing. I'm not even paying attention to the cards. Sometimes it just unlocks a doorway. And in that, I will often use a pendulum. And the phone's sort of in the way, but we'll see how this works with me holding it. I will hold a pendulum to guide me as I speak. And as long as it's heading on the yes, I am speaking in a good way. In the thoughts that are coming into my mind are from spirit. But if it starts to change, then I'm being impacted by my own thoughts, and they aren't from spirit, and I need to get back on track. And in this, I can also answer yes, no, maybe rephrase questions while talking. But this is a method of knowing that I'm going in the right direction and staying on track when it's just coming, especially when it's just audio, when it's just coming in my head. Yes, no questions with a pair of dice during readings. Like if someone's chatty and has a bunch of questions, I'll do this. Or I'll roll this and then pull cards. So 6 is a hard yes. 5 is yes. 4, maybe. 3, probably not. 2, no. 1, never going to happen. And so I also use that. And I have some crystal balls. I have 3. I have 2 light stands that are really helpful. This one is, I like this one for all its imperfections within this particular quartz. I happen to love that. And I think it looks really, I wish you could tell on here how amazing it looks with the light shining. Maybe if I do that, you can kind of tell with the light shining through it. So I quite like it. And this one in particular, I like to turn around and let all these imperfections create images. This one's an opal. It does look really gorgeous in the with the light on it. Maybe needed to be cleaned a little bit. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I have a clear crystal as well. And so I do like those, and occasionally also some spirit writing. So those are other forms that that I use that I like and enjoy, and they stay on my table for easy access. Okay, so I have to come up with some people to tag. apparently. And am I missing a question? Hang on. What solidified my connection with tarot? Man, I can't believe I left this one off. It's probably one of the most interesting ones. What solidified my connection with tarot? I struggled with tarot for a long time. I felt I was more of a natural at astrology. I did not really enjoy my decks. And I was going to show you some of my old decks that one of my kids has, but the two decks that are old decks of mine that they have, they were taken in a cop raid of a blockade and are gone. So that's why I couldn't find them when I went to look. Anyway, some of them were super RWS, like I'll put it up here in a picture, like the Tarot Sutra, super RWS, and has some keywords on it. And so I had that one, came in a giant box, big guidebook. The guidebook was mostly about how to use tarot to figure out what to do in the bedroom. Two of the decks that I bought myself, because that was gifted to me, were the Celestial Tarot and the Harmonious Tarot. And like, they're all white decks, although the Harmonious Tarot has some questionable token cards. And so this was part of my difficulty with it. I think I was most like the Celestial Tarot out of all of them, but children happened to that deck. So that's what I was working with, and I didn't love it. And I wasn't confident. And then some of my friends and I were doing tarot study buddies. And so you would do a tarot reading and call a friend up, one of the tarot study buddies, and they would help you read it. And in doing this, I realized that I actually excelled at reading tarot for people other than myself. And then I did indeed know what the cards were. And all my time using this system had actually been really good. And I just really needed a better deck. And then this deck came out, the Next World Tarot. And so then I went from discovering with the Tarot Study Buddy system that I actually really excelled at tarot and could definitely read it as well as I could read astrology, and it was way faster and took way less of my energy. But then I got this deck and I was like in love. I was like, I can love it. And then a friend gifted me the Star Spinner, and I was like, where do you find decks like this? Because you know, Indigenous folks, we are nervous of the esoteric community because of toxic neoliberal racist New Agers, and sometimes alt-right New Agers. And so I didn't know there was places I could find decks like this. That was also a game changer. I was like, oh, that probably made me a deck collector, actually. I would have just had this one and been good with it and passed on the other deck I had. If I hadn't then been gifted Star Spinner, not that long later, like maybe 6-7 months later, I don't know, within a year, I think it was, anyway, and I would have just been like, oh, this is the only good deck out there. This deck, having a tarot study buddy solidified tarot for me, because I wasn't nervous about what I didn't know with other people who were also learning. Except I discovered in the process of it that they were learning and I already knew. And they discovered that in the process of it too and kept pointing it out to me. Like, you don't actually need a study buddy. You just need people other than yourself to read for. And then this deck changed how I thought about the actual tarot cards. I had a friend with, what's that deck called? The Wild Unknown. But I wasn't impressed by it. I was like, nah, I need people in my cards. My Celestial Tarot had animals in it sometimes, but it still worked for me. I didn't get the Wild Unknown. And I did have some friends with some interesting decks, but they seemed to be older decks, so was like, not sure where you're going to get this now. It also took me a really long time to figure out shopping online, which was how I came across this deck. I thought I had to buy a tarot deck at the local tarot shop, and there was just not a selection there. And for me, the local tarot shop wasn't even a tarot shop. It was like local esoteric shops that, didn't have big selections anyway. And so sometimes if I was in another city, I would look. But yeah, it took me a while to figure out. So now I probably made it that's long by rambling about that for a long time. But there we go. Who am I going to tag? Who am I going to tag in this? Let me think for a second. Okay, so I have picked my people to tag for the tarot tag, and you don't have to do it just because I tagged you in it. I'm sorry about the social pressure. So I'm going to choose Mayfield from Scholar-Bought Tarot, Robyn from Robyn's Reflections, Kim from Abundant Life Tarot, Laura from Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books, and a channel I just discovered kind of recently, which I love, which is Ysha from Activist Witch. So there you go. Check out their channels. Whether or not they do the tag, let's use this opportunity to say, go check out these channels. See you later, folks.